Does it feel like whatever you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're trying to change, it's still leaving you in the same position when it comes to finding a partner? Are you like so many right now that feels like they need to keep coming back to the same old drawing board when it comes to finding your ideal love? Today I'm going to walk you through a new kind of plan. It's a plan that I talk about with my coaching clients, and it's a plan that I feel might help you shift the way you think in regards to how to date and generally how to find love, essentially. But before I get into any of those tips, let me give you this informal introduction to anyone new that's watching this right now. Hi, I'm Pri. I'm a coach that specializes in being your unfiltered, authentic self every day. I'm not a relationship coach, but I do work with clients that are in relationships, and I do work with people who are single trying to get into relationships. It's all about like improving the way you communicate and understanding the bigger picture, and also learning how to like prioritize yourself and put yourself first. And for the standard YouTube housekeeping rules, if you want to hear more about like dating and want to hear more about like tips I throw out, maybe it's time you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and listening to the podcast where I've gone into conversations with a number of different guests around different styles of dating and different opinions around dating. But yeah, back to this blueprint and what I'm going to talk about today specifically. So whenever I speak to my clients and they're single, I ask them, walk me through what you're doing when it comes to dating. Talk to me about like your history in regards to dating. Let's get a little rough idea of what's not working for you, essentially, right? Because things have worked when you've got into relationships, and that's where we want to be. What the problem is that like right now in this world of dating where everything is such a swipe culture and there are so many options out there and people aren't just really transparent and honest in regards to what they want, we find ourselves in this position where like we're doing something which generally isn't working or getting us closer, right? And so if I try to like wheel it back to when like dating used to work for me back in the day, when like relationships were very easy to get into, it was because you're pretty much quite honest, transparent, and communication was key. Right? You tuned in, you spoke. I remember the days of like MSN, what a time to be alive. Jumped on MSN, spoke to people, got to know them, went on dates, cute, chilled, relaxing. Yeah, that constant communication was always there. And there was a want from both parties to like get to know each other. And then we moved into like, say, as technology evolved, you have like BlackBerry Messenger, not really iMessage, but then like you had like Facebook, and I remember prior to Facebook you had High Five and MySpace, and there are all of these like apps and social media platforms that then started to arise. And we're now in a phase right now where we've got like dating apps and all of this culture around where you can swipe right, but there's just so many options. It can become a bit difficult. And so if I try to like hone it in what's not working. So I'll give you a couple of examples that I've written down over here. First one is people rush into a number of dates, they get excited, they have fun, they get too intimate, and before you know it, the energy has disappeared and they're back to the drawing board. Does that sound like you? Another example could be the individual that doesn't have the time and energy to communicate, struggling with the same stuff over and over again. Like nothing happens because they generally just don't have the time and energy to actually put stuff out there. Another example where things haven't worked out is where like people just don't respect your boundaries. So there are things that you have here, you turn them down without any remorse, and all of a sudden you're just stuck in this boat where you're not trying to be adaptive to a situation as well. With every example that I've heard from my clients, I find like the common theme around like these self-imposed issues we place upon ourselves. We get attached too quickly before we even get to know the person, like their true values, what it is that they really want. We don't invest any real time and energy that the other party also deserves in getting to know you. And finally, we're still healing. So whatever it is right now, say you've recently come out of a breakup, or maybe it's been years since you've been in a relationship, you're still healing and you're in that phase of like you haven't let go of what hurt you. And so you bring that into the next date and things just don't materialize, because when someone disrespects this boundary or this guard that you've got up, it just throws things out of the water. So if this is you, I want to take just 1 second right now just to say, if you would like me to go a little bit deeper with you in regards to understanding like what's really going on with dating, what filters you're possibly wearing that are affecting the dating game for you, I want you to book in an unfiltered coaching experience with me. It's a 90-minute call where we'll speak, we'll get quite unfiltered in regards to like what's really up with you right now in terms of what are your filters, how is that affecting you, and essentially look at what life looks like if we take them away, and how that can be applied to you in this situation when it comes to dating. So if that's something that you feel like you might want to like jump in on, I'm gonna throw the link in the bio, jump in there, have a little read, and if you want to get onto a call, let's get you unfiltered. But that being said, let's take a look at things very differently in this capacity right now. Assuming you want to find a partner, a life partner, someone you want to spend the rest of your life with, I want you to picture it like a movie. We do it from like a rom-com perspective, but then we get lost, right? So think of it like a movie. Think of any film right now. Is it amazing energy of the Offset, and that just continues throughout the whole film? So is it just fireworks and action and hearts and love from the Offset, and that's the whole duration of that film? Probably not. That doesn't make up for a good movie. Normally you have a little bit of lows, or there's a moment, and then it's a rebuilding process, and you then get to the final scene, the action, and then we ride into the sunset. If I look at the best romances or the best rom-coms that I've watched, they meet each other, they get to know each other. It was whether by it was an accident or whatever, and before it gets too physical, like they've like really opened up to like get to know one another from a different perspective and really want to connect with each other on a deeper level. Unless you're watching something like Friends with Benefits or something like that, which is very different, but still like that connection is there in terms of getting to know someone, and then it becomes a little bit more substantial. And I feel like this is the thing that people are missing when it comes to dating right now. So I've got this little exercise that I've got up. What I try and tell my clients who are struggling to find a partner, talk to me in regards to the process of the initial person you've swiped right to or got to know from an app, or whether it's Instagram, a DM slide, or whatever it is. Talk to me about the process from there to that first date, and then the second date, and then the third date, and the fourth date, and however many dates it requires for you to then become mutually exclusive. And talk to me about that process. Like, break it down for me. Like, what does it look like for you? What needs to happen? And what tends to happen, what my clients will say, well, date one, well, yeah, we'll go out for drinks. Next date, we'll go for an activity. Third date, we might go for coffee. Fourth date, we'll spend a weekend together. Fifth date, we do this. And it's like, cool, I get that. What happens in between? What's happening on those dates? And the problem here is that like we haven't begun to identify what possibly should happen, what we should be speaking about, what kind of conversation we should be getting into, what kind of introduction should we bring to the table. Because when we think about it long term, the kind of person I want to spend the rest of my life with, there are a lot of things I want to figure out well in advance. There are a lot of things I want to understand. Like, I want to know whether or not, like, are they messy, for instance? Are they going to leave things lying around? Are they, not that I require my future partner to cook, but are they a good cook? That's a good skill to have, because I love my cooking. I'm a great cook too. Are they lazy? Are they a fitness active enthusiast kind of person, because I am? Do they like stuff like me? Like, are they interested in like self-development, self-care? Do they do yoga, Pilates? Do the whole process of this getting to know each other? Like, these are things that need to be looked into at a service level. Then we dig a little bit deeper and we understand that person a little bit more, like the family connections they have. And if they don't have the best family connection like you have, what is it about them that keeps them quite in tune? What is it that they want for their families moving forward? But I feel like what we tend to do is we don't get into any of that stuff. We just do the dates and then just say, well, they say no to you. And then it's a case of like, well, we start again. And I'm thinking right now, and I'm getting my clients to think about it, well, if you really want to find someone long term, why aren't you asking them quite early on, like, what are they afraid of? When it comes to commitment, what are they afraid of? Have they been hurt? Why haven't you dug that much more deeper? Because if you're able to find out that information and feel that you actually align, guarantee you, when it comes to actually then going on those dates moving forward, that first date when you go for drinks is going to be a very different experience because you found out a little bit more. And maybe you don't pack everything in within the first couple of weeks of getting to know someone. It's within the in-between stage of date one and date two. Date one, yeah, it was amazing. We had a great time, great fun. Respected my boundaries, I respected yours. And now what we're going to do is just dig a little bit deeper into understanding a bit more about each other. But we sometimes get lost in this honeymoon phase. And this is why we get attached, because sometimes people say things and we're like, oh my God, yeah, they're the one, they're the one. And that person isn't even on that level yet. They're not even ready for this yet. They want another like 8-9 more dates before they know whether or not they can be fully invested in you. They're still assessing other people. They still got other connections that they've built up and they want to still explore that, which isn't a problem, by the way. I just feel like in this process, you need to get comfortable with understanding who this person is. And this is something that we don't do. So it gets me thinking that if we did this a bit more often, if we spoke about it more in this context, and we try to really hone in to what our dates look like, what are we going to try and do, and create some sort of like checklist. I don't want to make it robotic, but like a rough idea, like a guideline. And I've got one on my website, so definitely jump in and download that if you haven't already. You might see there's a different way of looking at how to find the partner you want to be with. So if I tried to go back to a point where I was at school, for instance, and MSN was the thing, like it was constant conversation. If someone was available at night where I was up like an extra hour, 7 to 8 before you go to bed, and we were able to just chat and throw emojis and laugh and giggle and flirt, you could understand that person a bit more. Then you learn a bit more about them, like what they were doing at school and their studies and their family backgrounds. And like the dates that used to happen would be like so PG, but so like warming and loving on that front. Like it was really invested to get to know this person. And the reason why that worked so well, because it was just free flowing. There wasn't any pressure that X, Y, and Z had to happen. We just had a rough idea. Like, we're gonna go cinema on date one. Date two might be ice skating. Date three might be going for a lunch somewhere. Date four might be, and then before you know it, you're just doing things and it's just a lot more free flowing and you're in a relationship. Whereas I think right now people have this thing, well, I need to look good, so we're going for drinks. I do like an activity. Fine, okay, cool. But tell me what happens in between. Because right now at this big age, we've all got jobs. We've all got stuff going on behind the scenes, family stuff. We might have like serious family stuff going on, and that creates a lot of like animosity and pressure. And so if that energy isn't available, we want to find someone who can reciprocate that energy, but we don't even think of it from that front. because we don't allow ourselves to get vulnerable and find out that kind of information or share that information from our behalf. So I feel like if you're able to like knuckle down into that, you might see yourself actually finding better conversations arising. Some of the things that I wrote down here as bullet points were in the space of getting to know someone within like the first couple of weeks before you've been on your first date or in between your first and second date. Have you understood like their dreams and aspirations? Have you got to know their allergies, what their dislikes are in a relationship? Have you got deep and personal to why they're still single? Like, did someone hurt them? As I mentioned, are they holding back and reserved, or do they feel comfortable? And everyone out is having fun. We're all glamming up, getting changed, doing activities. But tell me, like, what about this person that you're connected to right now? Like, what stimulates you to want to know more? What stimulates you to invest more time in them? Are you inspired by them? And what is it you're particularly inspired by? And try and hone into that, because there might be something there you realize later down the line that ain't really your cup of tea, or is your cup of tea. And that's why it's a good investment of your time and energy, because they are someone you really want to get to know. And you have to also make sure that person is willing to give you that kind of stuff back too, right? We don't do this. And it just creates a little bit of a challenge. And I'm like, yo, make it make sense. Are their favorite color and their favorite cuisine and what their love language is? How do they handle change? How do they handle animosity? How do they handle difficult people? Because you're going to be difficult at times, right? Because you've gone through life your way. How are they going to be able to deal with that? And it's like, how do you talk through those situations? How do you come to like compromising and complementing one another in that capacity when you both have opposing views? How do you nullify something where it seems like it's a debate, but like we don't want to get to that point? What we want to do is just date, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, guess nothing's happening. So it just gets me thinking. And like in all of this, like we're not looking for perfection. We're not trying to like find the perfect one, but what we're trying to do is find someone who's aligned to what it is that we want long term. And I feel like if you like kind of like flip the script, you might actually see that your dates are a bit different, because you'll get to date 2 and realize that everything that's come up right now, date 3, there's no point of it. Or you might get to date 2 and think to yourself, you know, whoa, yeah, damn, I definitely want to find out this one because he's open or she's open, and the game just changes very differently for you. But yeah, let me know what you think. All right, I just wanted to just like try and go in it on this angle, and I'm doing these videos right now where I'm just gonna keep posting and answering questions that my clients throw at me to give to the wider audience, and answer the questions that my audience throw at me to obviously give again back to the wider audience in this unfiltered capacity kind of way. I hope you lot have enjoyed that. Drop me a like if it has been a thumbs up for you. Drop me a comment if there's anything that you feel like I've said that might be like kind of triggering, or you kind of want to challenge it. Like I'm always here to like have those open-ended conversations with you. And lastly, if you've liked the video, don't forget to give it a subscribe if you want to hear more unfiltered stuff, unfiltered tips, unfiltered advice, unfiltered explanations, and all of that stuff. Or if you just want to hear the Unfiltered podcast, because that's what we do. Yeah, I'm going to end it there. Been your boy Pre, and I'm signing out. Peace.